Political tensions are on the rise again in Hong Kong. All of the city's pro-democracy lawmakers say they will resign. The walkout is a protest against 4 of their colleagues being disqualified from the Legislative Council. They were removed just minutes after China gave the city the power to disqualify politicians deemed to be a threat to national security. The Pan-Democrats say the move signals the end of one country, two systems. But Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam says this won't turn the Legislative Council into a rubber stamp. Roland Lim reports.
Yes, the move by the Standing Committee raises new questions about the future of Hong Kong's legislature, arguably the most highest profile platform for open debate left to Hong Kong when it comes to politics here. The message that Beijing is sending is that only patriots need apply to be a Hong Kong lawmaker. The political rule that Hong Kong must be governed by patriots shall be firmly guarded, states the Beijing Liaison Office in Hong Kong in response to the Standing Committee's decision. Hong Kong lawmakers who promoted or supported Hong Kong independence and refused to admit China's sovereignty over the city should be considered in breach of their oath of allegiance to the Hong Kong SAR. The Hong Kong Macau Affairs Office also came out to say that the Standing Committee's decision has legal authority that cannot be challenged, and that the decision provides a solid legal basis for regulating and dealing with matters concerning the qualifications of LegCo members. The Hong Kong government wasted no time in confirming the lawmakers' removal within minutes of the Standing Committee's resolution. Mrs. Carrie Lam, the chief executive, explained she had not been given powers to disqualify legislators and that they were ousted because the Hong Kong government sought clarification from the Standing Committee because they had been previously barred from running for re-election. In a show of solidarity and to raise international concerns about China's clampdown on democracy here, just as U.S. President-elect Joe Biden prepares to take office, the Prodemocracy camp, all 19 legislators in a chamber of 70 seats, have resigned en masse in protest.
I wouldn't say that for members remaining in the Legislative Council, we will have a rubber stamp Legislative Council. Each member of a Legislative Council has to account for his or her actions to the constituents, to their voters. And there are many occasions that even amongst the so-called pro-establishment members, that our proposals did not get through, either because they said that it was not good enough, or they said that this was not welcomed by members in their respective constituents. So I clearly will say that it is unfair to the pro-establishment members that once the 90 members left the Legislative Council, then they will become a rubber stamp of the Hong Kong SAR government. That certainly would not happen. In the same way, we, especially myself, I welcome diverse opinion in the Legislative Council. I respect the check and balance responsibility of the Legislative Council.
Now, the Legislative Council can still continue to function because the statute says that a quorum of only 35 members are needed to continue half of the 70 seats. But of course, there are concerns without an opposition. It then becomes a rubber stamping legislature with no checks and balances in place. And that it might also be making it easier for the pro-establishment camp to win unprecedented majority in next year's LegCo elections. Pro-business Liberal Party leader Felix Chung has already come out to say that it would be unhealthy for Hong Kong not to have an opposition voice in the legislature. Remember, this is also not the first time that Beijing has ruled to disqualify lawmakers. Now, 4 years ago, half a dozen localists were disqualified for intentionally flubbing their oaths of office or altering it to show their disrespect to the central government.